I'm Michael Bain, and welcome to Triggered, coming to you this week from a very, very windy secret hidden bunker in the Rocky Mountains in Dragon House Studios, and brought to you by Hunter's HD Gold shooting glasses, finest shooting glasses in the entire world. Interestingly enough, last weekend I went to Wyoming to a class on intuitive defensive shooting. We've been talking about that over the last few weeks, both here and in the MBTV on the radio podcast. But I wanted to just step in, pay the money, and take a class taught by my friend Jason at Wyoming Tactical. You've heard me talk about Wyoming Tactical numerous times here before. It is one of the best values in training in the country. Jason is a good friend and a fine instructor. But I was in Wyoming, I was talking to lots of people new to shooting, including some of the people in the class. And not surprisingly, the question of holsters came up, which caused, I think, both Jason and I to roll our eyes simultaneously. Because discussing holsters for concealed carry is wading into this like huge, massive swamp. And it's all sticky and muddy, and you got to figure your way through it. One of the things both Jason and I said almost immediately is everybody who's been in this business any length of time has buckets of holsters in their garage. We are not exaggerating. This is one of my buckets of holsters. And gosh, you'll notice it's full of holsters, lots of different holsters. Some are for guns I'm not using right now or don't have anymore. Some of them are holsters that I tried and thought, wow, this is going to be the best holster in the entire world. And it turned out to not be the best holster in the entire world. We've tried hundreds of holsters. And one of the things I found is that none of them seem to suddenly just be 100%. So the first thing I wanted to talk about this week on Triggered is the concept of modding holsters. We mod guns, and I think now it's becoming easier and easier to modify holsters to fit more specifically what we're looking at. So I wanted to maybe start here with this guy. This is the Tactical IWB holster. It's a holster that I had some input into. I like them. They're mid-range price, which is really important because some of the holsters in this bucket were really expensive. And I paid dearly for them only to wear them for like 6 months and discovered that I absolutely hated them. So with new people especially, I like to say, let's start out with something that doesn't require you to sell your car. And Tactical is a good choice. It's got a plastic clip on it that works pretty well. Obviously, you slip down, clips over your belt. One of the modifications that I would look at on this holster that I am going to do are these. These are monoblock steel clips. A couple of different companies make them. These are from, oh gosh, HLR. Go to michaelbain.tv. We will have the link for you. These things are like shark's teeth. It's tempered steel. They hook incredibly well. They will stay on a belt. Now you look at them, you go like, wait, I bought this holster, now you think I got to mod it here. What's that cost? I think $7.50, which is a really cheap price to get a top-of-the-line spring steel clip. Now some manufacturers, JM Custom Kydex, Dark Star, allow you to specify stainless steel monoblocks when you're putting all this together. But if you just start out with this holster, you go to a monoblock, and when we come back, I'm going to continue on this line and show you a couple of more mods that will allow you to get the holster exactly the way you want it. Stay with us. Welcome back to Triggered, where the wind is blowing so hard, I swear I may have to send a text to Annie M. to tell her I'm no longer in Colorado anymore. I don't know, we may be on the moon by the end of this particular filming session. We're talking about modding holsters, which is not as sexy as new cool guns, but it's something perhaps more important because the holster is integral to whether you're going to wear the gun or not. If the holster is comfortable, if the holster works for you, you're much more likely to wear the gun. And that's why I've really started thinking more in terms of, okay, I got a basic holster. What changes might I make to that holster to bring it to a point that I'm going to carry it every day? And this is exactly what we talked about up in Wyoming this last weekend. So that's why I wanted to bring it to you guys. We've talked about stainless steel monoblock clips. There are other stainless steel clips that you can get that are like this. This is a DeSantis inside the waistband holster for my daily carry SIG 365 XLs. So you can see it slips right in there. This clip, which is plastic, you see the one clip on it, drops down, clips over the belt, but because of this gap, it allows you to tuck your shirt in. Well, I have often found that plastic breaks. Even good plastic, and this DeSantis is probably the best there is plastic-wise, but you can also get metal discrete carry clips just like this. And you can get them in different lengths, you can get them for different width belts. So you can say, I really like the idea of having a tuckable holster. I have a workplace where I need to wear a real shirt of some kind, so I need it where I can maybe tuck that shirt in. Well, once again, for about 10 bucks, you can get exactly the clips you need to customize it for your use. Second primary part of customizing a holster where it's comfortable for you always has to do with Mr. Velcro. Of course, much of Western civilization is made possible by duct tape and Velcro, but with these Velcro panels on the back, we're able to place foam panels of various widths, of various depths to them, to make the holster both ride in, to push the holster back toward your body, and at the same time make the holster more comfortable against your skin. You can see on this is JM Custom Kydex, I believe one of the 2 or 3 best makers in the entire world. You can see here that this particular piece of foam is pretty well worn. That's because this holster's been used a lot. But once again, it pushes the gun, the handle of the gun, the butt of the gun, a little closer to my body. And at the same time, there's no rough piece of plastic rubbing up against what's a sensitive part of your body. That also works, interestingly enough, on outside the waistband holsters. And you think, well, why? Well, exactly the same reason. That panel pushes this holster this way. And as a consequence, it tucks in close and it allows the cover garment to conceal an outside the waistband holster. So Velcro is cheap. There are a number of different places that sell you these muzzle pads, some as like foam triangles, some round pads, some triangular pads. JM Custom Kydex sells them. V Development Group has a whole series of different ones. Dark Star Holsters, another top-end Kydex bender out there. They all manufacture some sort of pad to really protect you. Final part of customizing a holster, which we'll get into later, is an outdoor. When you look at how it attaches to the belt, it attaches here on an outside the waistband. We've shown you clips, a couple of different kind of clips. This is CompTac. This is probably, to me, the best plastic clip. Unfortunately, CompTac, my friends at CompTac, hi Randy Rogers, they don't use the standard sizing that almost everybody else uses. So you're kind of trapped a little bit with using their own products, but their own products are very good. On this particular JM holster, these are the snaps, push button snaps. This is probably the most secure way to attach a holster to a belt because by golly, it's not coming off. Not necessarily the most comfortable way, but the most secure way. When we come back, it's your best defense, and hopefully this has gotten you to a point where you can carry every day. Stay with us. This week's Triggered is brought to you by Armscore Rock Island Armory. What's your passion? Taurus USA. Always ready, always bring it. Hunter's HD Gold shooting glasses. They change so you don't have to. And SDS imports the Thesis PX9. Thesis means quality. Welcome back to Triggered and our Your Best Defense segment. This also comes out of my trip to Wyoming last week and taking the Intuitive Defensive Shooting class with Wyoming Tactical. One of the students in the class at the end of the class said, wow, she'd had a great time. She'd learned so very much. The only problem was if there was just some magic way she could practice at home, because it's like 45 minutes to an hour to her closest range. And last I checked, they aren't giving 9mm ammunition away. They should be, but they're not. And both Jason and I immediately said CERT. CERT pistols. We've talked about them here before, but sometimes I forget that all the new people coming in haven't necessarily heard this. CERT from Next Level Training, my friend Mike Hughes, and he is a very good friend of mine at Next Level Training, invented the ultimate training pistol. CERT is short for Shot Indicating Resetting Trigger, and that's this guy. It is not a gun. You cannot put bullets in it. It will not shoot bullets. It is an inert device. But what it does is, when you pull the trigger, you get an indicator, and if this was a real gun, I would not be pulling the trigger, of where your shot is going to go. There's also a function on it, a switch on top, that you can see first you get the red dot, then the green dot. The red dot is showing your take-up on the trigger. You're on the take-up. Now, why are these things useful to you? Well, if you're looking at the target, and once again, we've been talking a lot about target focus, right? But you can see, is this moving? When I go from prepping the trigger to squeezing the trigger, am I seeing a line here? Is all of a sudden, instead of a green dot, I see a green line down here, over there? That's telling me that I am not pulling the trigger the way I need to pull the trigger. Maybe my grip is weak, maybe I'm snatching, maybe I've got too much finger in, not enough finger in. But you can do all these things at home. The way this gun is set up, and oh, by the way, magazines, weighted exactly the same as if it was full of 9mm rounds. So, you need to practice reloading. You can practice reloading all day long. This gun was set up, I set this gun up several years ago as a training device with red dot sights. Because one of the things that people told me is that, wow, you know, we agree with you that red dot sights are kind of a revelation, but wow, it's hard to learn to pick those suckers up. And I thought, well, the best way to do that is to put a red dot sight on the CERT pistol, which we did. It's a cheap red dot. I ordered it off Amazon. The sight is a dovetail sight. I also ordered that off Amazon. It was dirt cheap. I put them on, and I spent a lot of time doing draws. And then pulling the trigger, making sure the dot was there. And I learned the best way to shoot a red dot pistol. So in answer to the student's question this last weekend is there a way I can train in my home? Yes. It's called a CERT pistol. First thing you're going to say is it expensive? Yes, as a matter of fact, it is. Not as expensive as a new gun, though, and certainly not as expensive as a new gun, 5,000 rounds ammunition. So, I'm Michael Bain. This is, of course, Triggered. Everything we've talked about here, you can find a link on michaelbain.tv. Also, of course, Triggered is seen there, and it's free. Doesn't cost you a thing. You can also find Triggered on YouTube and on Rumble, and we will see you next week.